Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi shir.
Shalom and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi Brachos Daf Lamed Von Chavtes Amud Beis. The last line says the Gemara, Amar Abaye, La'olam lishatif in ishnafshe behadi tzibura. A person should attach himself, should partner himself together with the rest of the tzibur, together with the rest of Klal Yisrael, when he's reciting Tfilas HaDerech, the special tefillah that one says when he's traveling on the road. He should attach himself to the rest of Klal Yisrael, certainly to the rest of his fellow travelers and wayfarers. He should recite his tefillah. The nusach of Tfilas HaDerech should not be b'lashon yachid, his own personal tefillah, but rather he should use a plural terminology. Why, says Rashi, Shemetayich kach Tfilas Nishmas, since he will attach himself to the Tfilas Rabbim, to fellow Jews. His tefillah assumes a new nature, a new character. It becomes a Tfilas Rabbim, a communal tefillah, and therefore his tefillah will be more readily accepted in Shemayim. Hey Chinema, what exact words should he use? Says the Gemara, Yiratzim L'fanecha. Hashem Elokeinu, our Hashem, Shelicheinu L'shalom, you should lead us in peace. Continues the Gemara, Eimas Matzli. When is one meant to say Tfilas HaDerech? Omar of Yaakov, Omar of Chizda, Mishosh Mahalech Baderech. As soon as he's on the road, he begins his travel. At that point, he begins Tfilas HaDerech. The place can speak out. This means as soon as one leaves the entire city, the domain of the city, including the Bura Shalir, about 70 amas that are considered to be the extension of the city, it's about 140 feet. As soon as the person leaves the city, he passes the Ibura, the 140 feet outside the city. Now he's already Baderech, and now he's meant to recite Tfilas HaDerech. Continues the Gemara, Ad Kama, until when can one recite Tfilas HaDerech? Omar of Yaakov, Omar of Chizda, Ad Parsa. Until he reaches the point of Parsa, he has traveled up until a Parsa, which is 8,000 Amma, which is around 2.5 miles. Up until that point, he can say Tfilas HaDerech. Once he reaches a Parsa, it's too late. Apparently, according to this pshat in the Gemara, Tfilas HaDerech is meant to be recited at the outset, at the beginning of his travel, of his trip. Once he passes a Parsa, it's too late. Rashi has another pshat from the Bahag. The Gemara's question is, Ad Kama, how long, what is the duration of one's trip that requires Tfilas HaDerech? Says the Gemara, Ad Parsa, a trip which is at least a Parsa, that is considered to be a real trip, and that trip is considered to be a Mahalach B'Makam Sakana, a dangerous area. But if it's less than a Parsa, then it's not considered to be a real travel, a real trip, and does not require Tfilas HaDerech. The Shulchan Aruch brings this shita that one needs to be traveling at least a distance of a Parsa to require Tfilas HaDerech. In addition, the Rama also says the Chatchila should follow the first shot of Rashi as well, that he should recite his Tfilas HaDerech up until a Parsa, prior to traveling a Parsa, meaning as soon as he leaves the city, he should quickly daven Tfilas HaDerech prior to reaching the point of a Parsa. Continues the Gemara, Vehechi Masla, in what form and what fashion, what position is one daven Tfilas HaDerech? Rav Chizda Amar Mu'amad, he must be standing in place to enhance his concentration, his kavanah, and not while he's moving, while he's traveling. Rav Sheshus Amar Filu Mahalach, he can do so even during travel. Apparently Rav Sheshus holds that the takana, the enactment of Tfilas HaDerech, was meant as a Tfilas HaDerech, a tefillah meant to be recited during the derech, meaning even while traveling, even according to Rav Sheshus, preferably standing is definitely the optimal way of davening, enhances kavanah, but he can also do it mahalach, as we will see in the coming story. Says the Gemara, Rav Chizda, Rav Sheshus Habakazli B'Orcha, they were traveling on the road. Come Rav Chizda V'Kamasi, Rav Chizda stood in place, he stopped his travel, and stood stationary to say Tfilas HaDerech. Only Rav Sheshus, the Shammai, Rav Sheshus, who was blind, he realized there was some sort of ikuv, commotion, something holding up the trip. So he turned to his servant and he said, Maika, Avid Rav Chizda, what's Rav Chizda doing? Amar Lei Koyi Masli is standing and saying Tfilas HaDerech. Amar Lei, so Rav Sheshus said to his servant, okay, if so, if we're waiting anyways, we can't travel without him. So then, Ukman Nami Lididi Va'atzli, let me get up as well, help me get up, and I will daven standing, stationary, because certainly that is better, the better way to daven. Miyos Toiv Al Tikira, if you have the option of doing it the best way, the optimal way, why do it in the less preferred manner? Don't be called a ra. Therefore, if we're standing anyways and we're not traveling, then may as well do it the best way and stand at one point and be stationary and enhance the kavanah during Tefillah Saderch. So in conclusion, one recites Tefillah Saderch when he's traveling on a trip, which is at least a parsa in length, in duration. He's meant to say it as soon as he leaves the city, the Ibura Shalir, and L'chatchila, he should recite it prior to reaching the point of a parsa. Continues the Gemara. My ikka ben havineno tefillah tzara. The Gemara now is going back to what we discussed earlier. There are three levels of tefillah. There's Shemona Esrei, the entire Shemona Esrei. There's havinenu, the abridged version, which one is meant to daven when he can't be mechaven, if he's traveling and the circumstance doesn't allow him to be mechaven the entire full text of Shemona Esrei. In that case, we allow him to daven havinenu, which is the abridged version. Tais explains enough Gimel Amud Aleph, although the Gemara yesterday said that Abai is layet, he condemns one who davens havinenu. Tais says that is in an ordinary circumstance. However, in an extraordinary circumstance, the person is traveling and he's unable to be mechaven by the entire Shemona Esrei for the full version of Shemona Esrei, then he may recite havinenu. So havinenu is meant to be as a replacement for Shemona Esrei, in lieu of Shemona Esrei. Then the third level is tefillah ktsara, as we said in the Mishnah. If one is in a mahalach, in a makam sakana, in a dangerous area, he doesn't even have the presence of mind to say havinenu. Then he davens merely a very short text, a very short tefillah, as we mentioned yesterday. Says the Gemara, what is the difference between these various levels of tefillah? My ikka ben havinenu tefillah ktsara. What is the difference between this type of tefillah of havinenu and the tefillah ktsara? Meaning, when a person is allowed to daven havinenu, and when a person is allowed to daven tefillah ktsara, these are definitely different types of circumstances. But is there a difference in the halachas associated with these types of tefillahs? Says the Gemara, yes, certainly. Havinenu boy litzlui gimel kamaisa gimel basraisa. Regarding havinenu, one must open with the three first brachos of Shemona Esrei in their entirety: avos, gvuros, kedusha. And Gimel Basraisa must conclude with the last three brachos of Shemona Esrei in their entirety, which is Ritzei, Moedim, and Simshalim. However, the middle brachos, the brachos that discuss our needs, those brachos are abridged into a compact version. So that is one halacha associated with havinenu that we don't find by tefillah ktsara. Number two, v'chi mati lebeisei. One who davens havinenu, he has already been yaitzi Shemona Esrei, and when he returns home, like boy lemedel etzlo, he doesn't need to daven again. However, tefillah ktsara, if one is in a makam sakana, he can't even daven havinenu, but rather it only says this tefillah ktsara is a very short version. Like boy litzluye, like gimel kamaisa, he's not required to say the first three brachos of Shemona Esrei, like gimel basraisa, nor the last three brachos. However, when he returns home, boy lemedel etzlo, he needs to daven again, since tefillah ktsara is not really a form of Shemona Esrei. So we have two differences. The Gemara concludes, havinenu mu'umad. There's another difference. Havinenu must be recited standing up. It is instead of Shemona Esrei. It's a short Shemona Esrei. A person must stop and daven havinenu standing in one position. However, tefillah ktsara, bein mu'umad, bein mahalach, can be done standing or walking. So we have in total three differences between havinenu and a tefillah ktsara. Havinenu requires the first and the last three brachos. Havinenu does not require one to daven again once he gets home. Havinenu needs to be done mu'umad standing. Regarding tefillah ktsara, the three first and last brachos are not required. He needs to daven again when he gets home, and he can daven the tefillah ktsara while standing or walking. Continues the Gemara. If one is riding on a donkey and the time for prayer has arrived, if there's somebody there available to hold on to his donkey, he should disembark and daven standing on the ground. But if there's nobody available to hold his donkey, he should stay up on the donkey and daven there, lest he be preoccupied with the safety of his donkey, with the whereabouts of his donkey. So better daven up there, sitting on the donkey, and try to be machaven, to have as best concentration as you could. That is the shita of Tanakama. Rebbe Yomi benkach, whether there's somebody available to hold his donkey or whether not, should stay up there and daven. He's sitting on the donkey. Why? His mind is not miyushav, is not at rest, he's not at peace. Explains Rashi, the delay on the trip, the fact that he's being delayed from traveling, this will distract his kavanah, and therefore better stay on the donkey and continue traveling. This way, perhaps you'll be able to have some kavanah. Some say Rabbi Levi, Rebbe, indeed the halacha follows Rebbe's opinion that he should stay up on the donkey and he could daven while he's traveling. Continues the Gemara. Now, Tosfos points out, it sounds like this is, the halacha Rebbe means that he should dafka, specifically do it in this manner. It is not a leniency, it is not something which is a b'diavad, but rather one should preferably conduct himself in this manner because the kavanah consideration is of primary importance. Continues the Gemara, Tana Rabban, we learned in the Brachos. Summa, one who is blind, one who cannot properly direct himself, he doesn't know which direction to point to. When he's davening, he's unsure which direction is Eretz Yisrael. So in that case, he should direct his heart to his Father in heaven. The Mishnah added another description. He should direct his heart to the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So we see that there is a manner of davening without pointing to any specific direction. Where do we find this? It says the Gemara, you should daven towards Hashem. So it's referring to a case where a person has difficulty directing himself in the proper direction. He should daven with his heart directed to Hashem. Continues the Brachos, one who is standing outside Eretz Yisrael. In that case, he should face Eretz Yisrael. They should daven via their land, meaning they should face Eretz Yisrael, as the Mefarshim explain. All our tefillos first travel to the Beis Hamikdash, and that is the conduit, that is the gate of heaven, as it says in the Pasuk by Yaakov Avinu, V'zeh shar hashamayim, the tefillos come through the Beis Hamikdash. So it's very appropriate that we face Eretz Yisrael, we face Yerushalayim and the Beis Hamikdash, and we have our tefillos go in that direction. Continues the Gemara, Eretz Yisrael, one who is in Eretz Yisrael, so where should he face it? He should face Yerushalayim. Shenemar v'yispal Hashem derech ha'ir asher b'charta. He should daven towards the city. They should daven towards the ha'ir, towards the city Yerushalayim that you have chosen. This is referring to one who is in Eretz Yisrael, who faces Yerushalayim. Ha'yomed bi Yerushalayim, person who is in Yerushalayim and davening. Yechaven esliba keneged Beis Hamikdash. He should face the Beis Hamikdash. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, v'yispal Abayis has it. They should daven. They should pray towards this house, towards the Beis Hamikdash. What if one is standing in the Beis Hamikdash? He should face the inner sanctuary, the Kodesh HaKadoshim. They should daven to this place, meaning to the holiest place, to the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So these are all different psukim that denote different positions, different locations. When one is outside Eretz Yisrael, he should face Eretz Yisrael. Derech Arza. When one is in Eretz Yisrael, he should face Yerushalayim. Derech Ha'ir. When one is in Yerushalayim, he should face the Beis Hamikdash. Elabayis Hazeh. When it is in the Beis Hamikdash, finally he should daven towards Kodesh HaKadoshim. El HaMokim Hazeh. Continues the Brachos. What if he's standing behind the Kodesh HaKadoshim? Yiras Asmei Kilu Lefnei HaKaporos. He should face the Kaporos, he should face back the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and he should view himself as if he's standing in front of the Kaporos, in front of the Aron. So the conclusion is that everybody is davening in the same direction. Nimtza. One is standing in the east, he faces Marav, west. But Marav, one is standing on the west side, he's facing Mizrach. If he's standing meaning on the other side of the Beis Hamikdash to the west, he faces the east. But Dorim, facing the south, towards north, the Beis Hamikdash. But Dorim, if one's in the north, he faces down south. Everybody is facing in the same direction to Eretz Yisrael, to Yerushalayim, to Beis Hamikdash, to the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Nimtzu Kol Yisrael, all Yidden, wherever they're davening in any place in the world, Mechavnas Libel Makam Echad, they're all facing, they're all having kavanah to one place. Amar of Avim, Temer of Avina, Mikra, where do we find the source in the pasuk? Kimidav David, Savarech, Bonus Talpios, the Beis Hamikdash is built like a Talpios. Tail is a hill, a mound, Shekol Pio is pointing by, that all mouths are facing there. So we have two elements here. One point is to daven towards the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and number two, this joins all leading together. They're all davening to the same direction. This is mi'achad. This unifies all Klal Yisrael in their prayer, in their tefillos. Continues the Gemara. Abu the Shmuel of Levi, the father of Shmuel and Levi, ki avabo lemefak le'urcha. When they need to travel early, still before the time appropriate to recite Krishma. We know that The Zman Krishma, ideally, is from the time when one recognizes, light up that one can recognize his friend 4 amas away, an acquaintance, not a close friend, as Taisus points out there. So that is the shear of Mishiyaker's Chaveri. So that is the ideal time. It is somewhere in between Aleis HaShachar and Neitz HaChama. Regarding Tefillah, Shemona Esrei, ideally one should daven from Neitz HaChama, from the beginning of sunrise, as we learned yesterday. Yeru'ucha im Shamesh, one is meant to daven with the sunrise. That is the ideal time. L'chatchila, one is meant to daven Shemona Esrei at the beginning of Neitz HaChama. Krishma a bit earlier from the point of Mashiach. What if one is going to travel and he's leaving very early? It is already after Aleis HaShachar. It is already beginning, the sunlight, the light of day is beginning to show. However, it has not yet come the time for Neitz HaChama or even Mashiach. What is he meant to do? Since he'll be traveling, it's difficult to be mechaven, to have kavanah during travel, when he's in a wagon, when he's on a boat. Says the Gemara, Avud Shmuel Levi did the following practice. They used to daven. At this point in time, it was still before the time of Krishma, before Mishayakir. They used to daven Shemona Esrei without Krishma, without the Brachos Krishma. Why? Because now they were able to melchaven, they were able to have proper kavanah, since they could daven ba'amida, standing up, stationary in one place. This was the most important thing for them, to daven with the highest level of kavanah. Now, since it is not really time yet for Krishma, since it is not yet Mishayakir, so they weren't concerned with the concept of being masmich l'gula l'tfilah. We know that one must join gula l'tfilah, the brachos of Krishma, the blessings recited after Krishma, which contain reference to gula, to our redemption from Mitzrayim. One is meant to daven in close proximity to join it together with his tfilah. However, if it has not yet come the zman of Krishma, the zman of brachos Krishma, therefore they weren't concerned with the concept of a masmich gula l'tfilah. Since it's not really time yet, it's not the ideal time for Krishma, therefore they merely davened, they said Shemona Esrei, even though it is not really the ideal time for Shemona Esrei as well. However, since it is already beginning to get light, as the Pais can explain, Tefillah corresponds to the Zman of the Karbanos. Since the Tamid Shel Shachar, the morning Tamid, was brought as soon as Heir Mizrach, as soon as the sky started lightening up a bit, therefore one may daven Shemona Esrei if he needs to. If it's a Shas Atchak, if he's going on a trip and he won't be able to mechaven later, he can daven earlier than Neitz HaChama. He can daven at that point of Misheira Mizrach, when the Mizrach begins to lighten up. However, regarding Krishma, since he can always recite it later, during this trip, one should really wait until Mishiyaka, which is the ideal time to recite Krishma. Although B'di'evet, if one recites Krishma even earlier than that, he's Yaitse if he does it Ba'akroya on occasion. But since it is not really a Chatchila, so they went ahead and they daven now, but they waited with Krishma for later. Let's see the Gemara inside. Avud Shmuel v'Levi, the following Shmuel Levi, did the following thing. When they needed to go travel on the road, and they knew that the traveling would inhibit kavanah, proper concentration, for their tefillah Shemona Esrei, so what they do? They would be magdim, they would daven earlier before they left. Once the Zman Krishma arrives, which is the Shir Mishiyaker's Chaveroi, it is light enough to recite Krishma, then they would recite Krishma with the brachos. Says Zumar Kaman, whose opinion are they following? That they prioritize things in this manner, that tefillah ba'amida, standing up with kavana, is more important than joining the brachos Krishma, joining Geula l'tefillah. Whose opinion were they following? Says Zumar, yes, Ki Tana, they were following the following Tana's opinion. The Tanya, as we learned, Hishkim latzis l'derech, one who rises early to travel on the road, and is already beginning to get light, but not yet Neitz HaChama. They bring him a shayfa and he blows. Perhaps he won't have a shayfa later. Lulav nanei takes a lulav and he shakes it. Megillah v'koyba, you can recite the Megillah. Ugashia, and the Zagirsa here brought in that mispalal, that he can also daven. Since he won't be able to daven properly later, he can daven now as well. Ugashia giazman Krishma koyr. As soon as the proper time for Krishma comes, which is Mishiyaker's Chavera, then he reads his Krishma. Hishkim leishav b'korin oy b'svina. If he arises early to go travel and sit on a korin, on a wagon, oy b'svina, in a boat, in a ship, mispalel, he davens before he embarks. Then when Zman Krishma comes, he recites his Krishma. So we see the Tanakama holds it was more important to daven with the proper kavanah prior to disembarking. No, benkach or benkach, Krishma is spelled either way, whether he's at home or whether he's traveling. He should wait until Zman Krishma, recite Krishma properly, say the Brachos, and daven. Kadei sheyismech gulot tefillah, so that he joins gulot tefillah. Says the Gemara, what is the rationale? What is the basis for this machlekes? Mar savar tefillah mu'umad adiv. Tanakama holds tefillah standing up, meaning with the proper kavanah, stationary in his place, standing up is more important than the concept of being soymach gulot tefillah. Umar savar, however, if Shmuel Elazar holds mismach gulot tefillah adiv, joining gulot tefillah is a more important consideration. So, Avod Shmuel and Levi apparently follow the opinion of the Tanakama that Tefillah Mu'umad Adif, and therefore they daven before they embarked and they left on their trip. Says the Gemara, another couple of similar type of scenarios, similar stories. Marema Marzutra have a Machanfe Be'asora B'Shabbat de Rigla. Rashi explains this is regarding the drasha, the shir that used to take place before the Yom Tovim, when the entire tzibur would come gather to hear the drasha, similar to today when we have the Shabbos Shuvah drasha, we have the Shabbos Hagadol drasha. So Rashi explains this was before the Shabbos, before Pesach, Shavuos and Sukkos. So the head of the yeshiva, or the Rav, whatever, he used to get up and say the drasha to the tzibur. Now this took a very long time. They began the drasha, which went on for a while. Says Rashi, the tzibur, the congregation, would absent themselves one at a time, one by one. They would disappear and say Krishma and daven. But the darshan, the one who's giving the drasha, doesn't have that opportunity, doesn't have that availability. So what is he supposed to do? When is he supposed to daven? Says the Gemara, Marema Mazutra, who were the darshanim, the ones who used to give the shir. So what did they do? Have a machafa be'asara. B'Shabbat the regal, they would gather 10 people a minyan in this Shabbos prior to the regal. Umatzlu, and they would daven b'tzibur, so they would complete their obligations of Krishma and Tefillah, and then v'adanafka lepirka, they would come out to give their drasha. Rav Ashi used to do something differently. Masli b'adi tzipura b'yachid miyushav. He used to daven b'tzibur, meaning during a drasha. Rashi explains they used to have a meturgaman, one who would announce. They didn't have a loudspeaker, certainly was on Shabbos, so they needed a meturgaman. He used to whisper to the meturgaman the words of the drasha, and there was a big crowd, so he needed a person with a loud voice to go announce the drasha. He would give him a lot at a time, and while the meturgaman was relating all this, so Rav Ashi would quickly say Krishma and daven sitting amongst the tzibur. He didn't want to make a scene and get up. He would sit there, bahadi tzibura, together with the tzibur, sitting, and he would daven in that manner. Rashi explains, he would daven as soon as the Zman Krishma would arrive. This way, he can recite Krishma, the Brachos, and Tefillah, and be masli b'chul Tefillah. However, says the Gemara, when he returned home after the Rasha, he would again daven standing up. Rashi says, since when he was sitting, perhaps he didn't have the proper kavanah. Taiz explains, since a tefillah miyushav sitting is not really the preferred manner, he must daven again standing up. So we have another version, another approach to one's solution to the way he handled himself regarding his tefillah and his rasha. Says the Gemara, Amalei Rabbanon. So the Rabbanon turned to him and they said, why do you do it in this unique way? You daven quickly while the Meturgaman is speaking, together with the tzibur sitting. Why don't you do it like Maremi Mazutra, who davened before the drasha? It is a tircha that is burdensome. Rashi says, I don't want to delay the drasha until I complete davening. Therefore, I do it in this manner. Says, well, you have another option. Why don't you do in the following manner? Just like Avodah Shmuel Levi, who used to daven early before Neitzachama, and this way you won't be delaying the drasha. You'll do it prior to the Zman drasha, daven the Shemana Esrei, and then the Krishma and the Tefillah, and the Krishma and the Brachos. So he said, no, I have a tradition. I don't have this type of solution. I never noticed the elder chachamim, minan, the avdiyachi, those that are elder than us, that conduct themselves in this manner. I don't have this type of tradition. I don't have this option in my lexicon. Therefore, I must do it in this manner because I have no other choice. So in conclusion, we have a few different ways of davening in a Shas Adchach. According to Abu Shmuel and Levi, one who is traveling, one who is going on his trip, and he's concerned that he won't be able to daven with kavanah. He may daven now when it's still early, and then while he's on the way, he can add the krishma and the brachos. Rav Shimon Lazar holds no, one may not do so. The machlokes is based on the questions: what's more important? What takes higher priority? According to Abu Shmuel Levi, which is the shita of the Tanakama the Brisa, tefillah b'mu'umad adifa. Tefillah standing up is more important. According to Shmuel Lazar, mismach gula tefillah is more important. We have two incidents in the Gemara. One regarding Marmei Mar Mazutra, who gathered a minyan and they davened properly standing up with the proper sequence of mismach gula tefillah, and then they went to the drasha. Finally, we have the story of Rav Ashi, who would go to the drasha and daven, was in the drasha while he was sitting, and then come home and daven again. Continues the Mishnah. Rabbi Lezer ben Azariah Omer, eight tefillas hamusaf and el bechaver ir. Tefillas hamusaf is unique in the fact that it is not a requirement, obligation on an individual, but rather it is only daven bechaver ir with a congregation, with a group. It was only established as a tefillas rabbim. The Rashash explains Tefillas HaMusaf is very different than other tefillas, since Tefillas HaMusaf isn't really primarily Rachmin, but rather it is corresponding to the Tefillas, to the Karban Musaf in the Beis HaMikdash, which is a Karban Tzibur. Therefore, Rabbi Lezer ben Azariah holds it is only obligatory on a Tzibur, not on a Yachid. Whether he is part of a Tzibur or he is merely a Yachid, he davens Musaf. Rabbi Yehuda, we have a third shita, a compromise. Rabbi Yehuda says in the name of Lezer ben Azariah, whenever there is a place that has a tzibur that is davening, in that case, Yochad Potter, Mitfilas HaMasaf, an individual is exempt, since the tzibur, the shliach tzibur, is being mitzi him. So, according to the Tanakama, according to the Chachamim, one davens Musaf, whether he's in the Yochad or he's a tzibur. According to Lezer ben Azariah, which is the Tanakama's version of Lezer ben Azariah, he only davens b'tzibur. According to Rabbi Yehuda's version of Lezer ben Azariah, if he's in a makam, a city that has a tzibur, he's potter. However, if he's on his own in a place where there's no tzibur davening musaf, then certainly he davens musaf. Says the Gemara, Tanakama. It appears that Rabbi Yehuda's shita is identical to the Tanakama. They both depended on a tzibur. Says the Gemara, surely it could be nayu. There's a big difference. What about a yachid who is not in the presence of a tzibur? He is not in a city that has a tzibur. Tanakama savar potter. According to the Tanakama, an individual never davens musaf, whether or not he is in the presence of a tzibur. Rabbi Yehuda savar chayav. Rabbi Yehuda holds if he's in a place, in a location that doesn't have a tzibur davening musaf, certainly he's required to daven. Amar Rav Huna Bar China Amar Rav Chia Ba'av halacha Rabbi Yehuda she'amar Shmuel Lezer ben Azariah that it depends if he's in a city with a tzibur or not. Amar Rav Chia Bar Avin Shafir Kamras. It is true. The Amar Shmuel, I've never davened Tfilas HaMusaf on my own, Ben Nahardar, in the city of the Nahardar. Why? Because we followed the shita of Rabbi Yehuda in the name of Lezer ben Azariah, that one who is in a city, in a location which contains a congregation, he's exempt. So I was always exempt, except for one day when the tzibur was preoccupied with something and they didn't daven. Except for that day, there was a militia, a army of the king, and they distracted the Rabbanan of Leitzolu, and they did not pray Musaf, and therefore Betzoli b'yachid, and therefore I davened on my own. Since there was no chaver, there was no tzibur davening on that day. So we see that the halacha follows the shita. That depends if there's a tzibur in the city or not. Says the Gemara, Yosef Reb Chanina Kara Kamei Rav Yanai V'Yosef Ka'amar Halach Reb Yehuda She'amar Mishum Lezer ben Azariah. Indeed, we follow this compromise shita. It depends if there's a tzibur there or not. Amar Lei. So Rav Yanai turned to him and he said, "Puk Kara Kara L'Chavar. Go read your statement outside." Why? We don't agree with this. In Halach Reb Yehuda She'amar Mishum Lezer ben Azariah. We don't agree with this shita, but rather any individual, any yachid davens musaf. In fact, I noticed that Rav Yanai davened and davened again. So apparently, the first one was for Shachris, the second one was for Musaf. So we see that one is required to daven Musaf, even b'yechidus, even on his own. Only Rav Yirmiyah, Rav Zera, what is it? How are you proving from Rav Yana, he davened twice? Maybe there was a different reason for him repeating his tefillah. V'dilma perhaps mikar lekivin daite. Initially, he didn't have the proper kavanah, but if kivin daite, therefore he had to repeat his Shemon Esrei. He wasn't machav in the first time. It was saif at the end. Kivin daite has nothing to do with shachris and musaf. He merely repeated perhaps his shachris. Amar Rav Zera turned to Rav Yirmiyah and he said, Chazi man gavarava, didn't you notice the great man, the Kamasidli, who was testifying, who was bringing this as a proof for the halacha? Rabbi Yechon was the one who stated this fact. I saw Rabbi Yanai davening twice. This indicates that Musaf is meant to be dam b'yechides. This is a great man testifying. Apparently, he was meticulous. He was exact in his testimony. Apparently, he noticed that he was davening Musaf. It wasn't merely a repetition of Shachris. So indeed, this is a good proof to the halacha that one davens Musaf even be-yechidus. Continues the Gemara, V'amar Vasi also, Afgav davlu Tleisar ben Krishta b'Tveri, even though they had Tleisar 13 shuls in their city of Tveri, Lavim Matzlu and Ben Amudi, Hechad Garsi, they would be particular, they would be makpid to daven only between the pillars of where they learned in the Beis Medrash, meaning be-yechidus. Since davening, the place of learning is about utmost kedusha, they prefer davening there, not in the shul. And apparently they daven musaf, even b'yechidus. So we see here that one davens musaf even individually. Itmar, Rav Yitzchak bar Avdimi Mishra Rabbeinu Amar, he said in the name of Rabbeinu, which means Rav, Amar halach Rav Yudah Shama Mishra Azariah. So in conclusion, we have three shittas. We have the shittas chachamim that require one to daven musaf, whether he's part of a tzibur, part of a chever ir, or whether he's merely a yachid on his own. We have the shita of Rav Elazar ben Azariah, which only requires one to daven musaf when he's part of a tzibur, when he's inside a tzibur, in a chever ir. And finally we have Rav Yehuda in the name of Rav Elazar ben Azariah that says it depends. If he's in a location, a city that has a tzibur davening, then he is exempt. However, if he's on his own in a town which does not have a tzibur, which is davening musaf, only then is he required. And the halacha l'maisa, practical halacha, is according to the shita of the chachamim that one is required to daven musaf regardless of whether he is b'tzibur, whether he's b'yachad, as we saw from these incidents of Rav Amir of Asi and the story of Rav Yanai, that they daven musaf even b'yechidus. Continues the Gemara. Rav Chia ba'Abba tzali v'hadar tzali. Rav Chia ba'Abba davened once and then repeated the same tefillah again. Amar Rav Zera, my time of at Marhachi. Why do you do so? Elaim is the reason mishum deloi kivin mar daite, because you didn't have the proper concentration, proper kavanah the first time around. Therefore, you daven again. Va'amar Rav Elazar, didn't Rav Elazar teach us that one is not meant to approach tefillah to begin with if he doesn't have the proper focus and concentration? One should evaluate himself. If he could properly have kavanah and direct his heart and concentrate, only then yispalel, then he should approach tefillah b'imlav. But if he's not able to do so, al yispalel, I shouldn't daven to begin with. So it can't be that's the reason you wouldn't have approached tefillah if you wouldn't have been able to, if you wouldn't have the ability to daven properly. Ella, but the reason must be something else. Is it because the loy atka mar yeshar archa, because you haven't mentioned Yalav Yavai, you omitted a mentioning of Rosh Chodesh, v'atanya, haven't we learned in the Brisa that one is not meant to repeat his tefillah if he merely omits Yalav Yavai? Tov le'yiskasho Rosh Chodesh ba'arvis. If one erroneously omits Yalav Yavai at night, he need not go back because he could go make it up in the morning. He'll always be maskir Yalav Yavai in the morning. But Shachris, if he misses it in the morning, he doesn't go back because he can say it during Tefillas Musaf. Similarly, Musafin, if he skips it during Musaf, so that's not a reason to go back and daven again. He could always say it and mention Yalav Yavai in the following Tefillah. Amar lei. So he responded to him, haven't we learned an explanation to this Brisa? Amar Yochanan b'tzibur shanu. This is merely meant in Tefillah b'tzibur. And Rashi explains two explanations, because there is a tircha tzibur, a burden on the tzibur, therefore the tzibur doesn't have to go ahead and daven again. Or the first pshat in Rashi, because they already heard it from the shliach tzibur, and the shliach tzibur repeats Shemon Esrei, they will be yotzer in that manner. But an individual, a yachid on his own, if he omits Yalav Yavai, certainly he needs to go back and daven again. Continues the Gemara. Kama yisha ben tefillah tefillah. When a person davens Shemona Esrei, and then immediately following that, he davens again, whether the reason is because he had omitted something, a required insertion, and needs to daven again, or whether he's going from Shachos to Musaf, how much should he wait, how much should he pause between the tefillahs? Rav Huna, Rav Chizda, there's a machlekes between Rav Huna and Rav Chizda. Chadama one says, that his mind should be rested, should calm down, should allow him to approach tefillah with a tachnunim, in a lashon tchina, in a pleading manner. He should have the yishuv adas, a proper presence of mind. Tosfos says this is a shir of hiluch arba amos, that it takes for one to walk 4 amos. Machad Amar, another one says, a little bit of different term, that his mind should be able to approach tefillah and be mechal Hashem, to chiloi, to beseech Hashem. Says the Gemara, says Rashi, it's the same exact thing. They both mean the same thing. A person should have the proper yishuv adas, presence of mind. He should give himself a moment to recalibrate his mind. They're both simply using different terminology. He's using the term of tischoyin d'chsiv, as it says, "V'aschanan Hashem," and I pleaded from Hashem. Moshe beseeched Hashem. So that is a lashon that he uses. If one omits Rosh Chodesh during Tefillas Arvis, he does not need to go back. Ordinarily we said that a yachid, an individual who omits Rosh Chodesh, does need to repeat his tefillah again. However, Ma'ariv is an exception. Why? Since evening is not a time where Bezdin would be Mekadosh the Chodesh, would sanctify the new month. Therefore, Haskara of Rosh Chodesh by Arvis is not Ma'akiv, doesn't invalidate the tefillah. Amar Ameimer, Mistaver Milsa de Rav. It is logical that this halach of Rav, that the Arvis tefillah is exempt. If a person omits Rosh Chodesh, it doesn't invalidate his tefillah. That is only b'chodesh malei, on a full month, and a month of 30 days. So if he omits Haskaras Yalaviyavai on the first night of the night of the night of the first day of Rosh Chodesh, meaning there are 2 days of Rosh Chodesh, which is day 29, day 30 of the month. If he leaves it out the first night, he can always make it up on the second night. Therefore, it's not ma'akiv. If it's a month that only has 29 days, only 1 day is Chodesh, in that case, if he leaves out Yal Yavi by Ma'ariv, certainly Machzir Noisai, he needs to daven again. No, let's take a look. Rav Taimakamar. Rav explained the reason. What is the background for the difference between Ma'ariv and the other tefillos? He told us the reason, because She'ein Bezdin Mekashen Es HaChodesh V'Layla, since that is not a time for Kiddush HaChodesh. Therefore, Mali Chaser, Mali Malei. It makes no difference whether it is a 29-day month, a 30-day month, Ela Leishna, it makes no difference. So in conclusion, a tzibur who omits Yal V'Yavai, they need not go back, whether it's during Arvis, Shachris, Musaf. The Gemara explains, since they're a tircha de tzibura, they could always make it up in the next tefillah by reciting Yal V'Yavai in the coming tefillah. Regarding a yachid, that depends. An ordinary tefillah requires him to go back. However, regarding Arvis, that is different, since in Mekachin as a Chodesh Balayla. Hadron Lach Tfilas HaShachar. Continues the Mishnah. A person should approach tefillah, prayer, with the proper attitude, with koved roish. Says Rashi, hachna, with humility. A person needs to subjugate himself to Hashem. He must approach with koved roish, with the proper attitude of yira, of hachna. Continues the Mishnah, Chasidim Arishonim, the early Chasidim, the devout individuals, they would come to their place of prayer, and they used to wait, they used to contemplate, be mizboinen, and generate this type of presence of mind, and then go daven, so they properly direct their heart to Hashem. Continues the Mishnah, when one is davening Shemona Esrei, even if a king comes and greets him, he may not respond. Even if there's a snake wrapped around his heel, he may not interrupt. Continues the Gemara. Where is this halacha sourced that one must approach tefillah with the attitude of koved roish and hachna? Says the Gemara, Vihi maras nafesh. Chana, when she davened, she was maras nafesh. Her nefesh was bitter. We see one is meant to daven with this type of attitude of hachna, of subjugating himself to Hashem, of being humble towards Hashem. Says Gemara, how can we prove from Chana? Chana was different. Davas Merir, Liba Tuva, her heart was very bitter on account of her desperation. She was childless. You can't prove it from Chana to the general public. We have another source. David HaMelech says, Vani, myself, Ani B'riv Chazdecha, Ovi Beisecha, when I come to your house of Tefillah, your Beis HaKnesses, it is B'riv Chazdecha, with your generosity, Yeshtacha L'Kodshecha B'Yosecha, I will bow to the Heichal Kodshecha, to the place of sanctity, B'Yosecha, with your fear. So you see that one davens with fear. Says the Gemara, David Shani. This is a personal conduct of David HaMelech, who was on a higher level, who engaged in this type of activity. He would pain himself with racham by beseeching mercy. He would be involved in requesting Hashem's mercy and davening at a very high level. It's not something which is obligatory on the public. Says the Gemara, Ella. We have another pasuk which is referring to us all. Bahadras Kodesh. You bow to Hashem. All of you bow to Hashem with Bahadras Kodesh. I'll take you Bahadras. Don't read Bahadras with a hey. El Becherdas Kodesh, with fear and trembling. Says Dilma lo'ilam emlach Hadras mamish. Why don't you read it literally? Bahadras with a hey, with honor, with kavod. And what is it referring to? Kiha. Rav Yehuda would attire himself properly with the proper respect. He would clothe himself with hadar, with honor to Hashem, and then approach tefillah. Perhaps this is what the pasuk is referring to. Bahadras kodesh, daven to Hashem, properly attired with the proper kavod and hadar, and not referring to cherda and fear. Says the Gemara, Ella of Rav Nachman Yitzchak Mahacha. From this pasuk, Ibdu as Hashem biyira v'gilu b'rada. You should serve Hashem. Ivdu avoida, which is the karbanos, and the tefillah today, nowadays, if you makim a karban, you should daven Ivdu Hashem biyira with fear. So this is the makar for approaching tefillah b'kovid roish, with the proper attitude, proper humility, yira and charada. Says in Gemara, what is the meaning of the words v'gilu b'ra'ada? You should be joyous with ra'ada, with trembling. My v'gilu b'ra'ada. Amar Adra Masna Amar Rava. Amar Rabba b'mokim gila shamtei ra'ada. When a person is in a joyous frame of mind, don't abandon, don't neglect yira, fear of Hashem. You should join them together. A person must know how to balance. It's a balancing act between being happy and joyous, and together with that, being fully aware of Hashem's presence, having the proper serenity, and the proper sincerity, and ra'ada and yira from Hashem. Says the Gemara, as we've seen in the following incidents, Abaya was sitting in front of Rabba. He was in an overly joyous mood. Amar v'gil b'radaksiv. The pasuk says you should be joyous, but accompanied with ra'ada. How would you allow yourself to be so happy and joyous? I'm wearing tefillin. As Rashi explains, tefillin is a testimony to Hashem's kingship. I am connected to Hashem's malchus, Hashem's rule. I'm subjugating myself to Hashem, and therefore I may be very joyous. And since I have the tefillin, that is an indication of the fact that even though I am very joyous, nevertheless I'm not removing the yoke of Hashem's kingship from me. Rather, I am still subjugating myself to Hashem, and this is okay. Says the Gemara, a similar story of Yomi of Yasser coming out of Zera. He was sitting in front of Zera. He noticed that he was very joyous. Amalei, doesn't it say b'chol etzav yemaiser? One is atzei, is sad. Yemaiser, that is a good thing. Mashal explains the word yemaiser. This is extra. This is an addition. This is an advantage. It's referring to a person's maila, a person's advantage over a balchai. A balchai is not otseif. Balchai's life is limited. His whole perspective is merely limited to his life here on this world. Therefore, he's not concerned with what's going to happen afterwards. By us, we have an advantage. We have a maila. We have yeh moiser over the balchai. We're aware of our future, of the world to come, which is our eternal life. And therefore, we have that atzev. We're constantly aware and on guard and concerned with what we do with our activities. That is b'chol atzev yeh moiser. A person's maila and his moiser, his advantage over a balchai, is the fact that he contemplates his future and he acts accordingly. In any case, he quoted this pasuk as an indication that one is not meant to be overly joyous. Amalei, the same thing. I'm not tefillin manachna. I'm wearing tefillin. And in that case, I can allow myself to be very joyous, since the fact that I'm wearing tefillin, that itself is a sign, a full-fledged indication of my awareness of Hashem's presence, and therefore it is not a contradiction that I am very joyous. That is not a stira to Malchus Hashem, which is clearly testified and announced and demonstrated by the fact that I'm wearing my tefillin.